Okay, and it'll be live on my page, so you can share it from there.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. This is Jamie Green with Unmuted Destiny with Jamie Green. And this is the platform that is rooted in honesty, transparency, and sacred truth telling, right? Is a space where purpose is the foundation and and voices are no longer silenced by fear or trauma or expectation. Here, lived experiences meet spiritual insights, allowing real conversations to unfold without mask or pretense. And tonight, I'm excited to have a guest with me. She was on my platform a long time ago, and I'm excited to have her back tonight. And that's Ms. Latoya Murchison. Latoya is an author, an advocate, a consultant, and the visionary voice behind Toya Storm, a platform grounded in the belief that even in the storm, purpose still speaks. An Amazon best-selling author, Latoya is known for creating transformative devotionals, healing journals, and empowerment resources that inspire readers to seek restoration, purpose, and spiritual wholeness. Her writing blends compassion, transparency, and faith, offering guidance for individuals navigating adversity, healing, and self discovery. Deeply rooted in the community service, Latoya serves as the board chair of UNC Cure Care Community Advisory Board, a board member of Seeds of Healing, and a longstanding advocate within national HIV networks. She is a graduate of the HIV and Faith Ambassador Program at Wake Forest University School of Divinity, where she now mentors the 2024-2025 cohorts. Her leadership and impact were recognized with her induction into the leading women's society in through workshops, speaking engagements, and her growing catalog of inspirational books. Latoya empowers others to embrace their stories, honor their healing journey, and walk boldly in purpose. Her mission is simple yet powerful: to help individuals discover that even in life's hardest moments, God is still speaking, guiding, and restoring. Welcome to the platform, Latoya.
Thank you, Jamie. It's nice to be here. How are you?
Can you hear me? It's
Yes.
good. It's good to see you again. Doing well,
Good.
uh,
Yes,
prospering,
I am.
thriving. I'm very proud of you. Welcome, welcome. All right, and
Thank you
I'll
so
just
much.
say to those of you're welcome, sweetie. Those of you who are tuned in, feel free to, if you have a question, feel free to put it in the comments, and I will try to address the questions with Latoya. Uh, please share, like, and share the video because we're going to have some good information tonight. Tonight we're going to talk about even in the storm, purpose still speaks. And um, so, first of all, I want to ask you, can you share the moment or period of time when you were first diagnosed with HIV and what you wish people understood about that early journey?
Oh, yes, I remember I was actually in the hospital when I found out. I went in kidney failure for a second time, and they weren't sure why I kept going, so they were running all type of tests. And at that time, I actually didn't know I was being tested. So it was a surprise to me when the doctor came in on April the 4th, 2018, and said, Miss Murchison, you are positive for HIV. And it's like I just went quiet because I didn't know what to say. It was a shock. I remember my mom being in the room with me. So it's like I was outed without my permission. So that was hard for me. I didn't have a chance to actually process before I was able to tell other people. But
Right.
the good part of that is I'm glad she was there because she kept me from completely breaking.
Yeah.
Because when the doctor left out, I just broke down crying. And I remember her coming over to me and standing in front of me and wrapping me in a motherly hug and saying, "You're going to be okay. We got this. I have you." And in that moment, I knew,
Absolutely.
I could keep going.
Yes.
That that's what, I want. I guess what I want people to understand that, yes, it's not an easy diagnosis, but it's long as you're staying in care, you'll be all right. You can keep going. I'm 7.5 years later, and I'm still here. And they said I wasn't going to get any better.
But here you are thriving, not just
Yes,
surviving, but thriving.
right. Yes.
So, in the Black community in particular, it's one of the reasons why I really wanted us to have this conversation. We don't want to talk about AIDS and HIV too much, right?
Right.
There's still a stigma with the diseases. Way back in the day was, only homosexuals get
Hmm.
HIV and AIDS. Then finally we came to the realization that's not true. And so then it was like, well, you had to sleep with somebody that's on the DL or something, just
Hmm.
all kinds of things that really were not medically sound. Do you mind sharing with the audience how you got HIV?
It was from someone that I had known for years, an ex. So I was like, okay. See, when I got tested, they were actually able to narrow down how long I had it.
Okay.
So at that time, when they did the first test, it said I had only had it for 3 to 4 weeks. So it was easy to be able to tell who it was. And
Yeah.
I talked to some other people, in the HIV community, and they didn't have that option when they
Yeah.
found out about it. Some of them, they couldn't pinpoint when it happened. So that was
Wow.
different for me.
Absolutely. So
Like I
let me
said,
ask
it
you
was
this
easier.
question.
Yes.
Knowing that where you got it from, how you got it, whatever, did that cause you to have to not trust people? Did it take you through a period when you just really didn't want to be bothered with
Hmm.
intimate relationships, even just girlfriends or friends or whatever? You just stopped trusting people. Talk to us a
Yes.
little bit about that.
I went into a deep depression to the point where I wasn't opening the blinds in my house. I wasn't going out if I wasn't just with my mom or my brother or my dad, my immediate family. I didn't talk to anyone, and actually took me a while to get back into the church because I just felt like I felt unclean, and that was with me not knowing everything that I know now.
Yeah.
Now that I'm more educated about it and I'm learning and I'm able to tell other people, I know that I can go out and be with other people. I can go out and talk and not have to worry about people looking at me different. Because
Yeah.
everybody that I've told, everybody that I've been around, that I've talked to, it's always been embracing. So that's made it easier for me.
That's powerful. So, what were the biggest misconceptions, Latoya, that you had to unlearn? Things that you had heard before you got your diagnosis. What are some of the biggest things you had to unlearn?
That it wasn't a death sentence. I'm gonna give you an example. It was the first time I see my kidney doctor after I got out of the hospital of finding out that I was positive. And I remember having to go in and have tests and have to give samples and everything. And I remember asking the nurse to give me some cleaning supplies so I could clean the bathroom because I felt weird going in and somebody had to come in after me.
Okay.
She said, "We see all kind of people here. You are fine. You're going to be okay. I was like, oh, okay. So it's like I had a woosah moment
Yeah,
in that time.
absolutely.
So that was real different for me. And then also with my HIV care team, my nurse would pray with me every time I went to
Okay.
the office. So that helped build my faith. She gave
Yeah.
me a Bible verse. She would give me Bible verses to read. She would let me cry on her shoulder. And when I finished, she said, "You're going to be okay. It's okay for you to cry, but people need to see your smile. They need to see your light, and they need to see you shine.
Yeah.
Don't allow it to keep you down." I was like,
And
"Okay,
you
thank
know,
you."
you said something very interesting when you said that, you almost felt like you had leprosy, like, you
Yes.
know, because of the societal responses, the lack of education, the lack of information, the stigma, finger point, and all of that we, experience with HIV. Because it's kind of like people just made you feel like if you have HIV and you put your hand on the table and then I put my hand on the table behind you, then I got HIV, right? And so it was like the whole leprosy thing.
Mhm.
And so I wanted you to make sure to let the audience know that that's not true. That's not what happens. And it's important for you to be able to live in a way that you don't have to feel like you have to live in a bubble or you can't have friends or you can't go out. So I appreciate you sharing that with us. How has living with HIV shaped your relationship with God? Um, what are some of your faith practices and what is your personal understanding of healing?
Ooh, okay. It has actually enlarged my faith because that's what I lean on every day. There's times where I'm not feeling good. There's times when I get down. I still think about why me.
Yeah,
And it's in those moments when I think about why me, I hear God saying, I have you.
yeah.
I'm carrying you. You're going to be okay. And I believe that in this moment, in this season of my life, with having God first in my life, it gives me the opportunity to reach other people that don't have that option. I can be a voice for the voiceless. And that also rebuilds helps build my faith in God.
And I say this all the time. Like a lot of people will say to me, with all of the health challenges that they know I have, some they don't even know about, but what they do know, they often say, I'm amazed at what you do. And you can't do everything you want to do, but you do into it. And I say all the time, it is my faith that sustains me, not in religion, not in religiosity, not in church doctrine, but the faith that I have God inside of me, and that no matter what
Yes.
I'm dealing with, that the God in me is carrying me through that. And when I look at you, even when you sharing sometimes on social media, I don't reach out and talk to you a lot. Probably should do a better job of keeping in touch. But I'm very impressed, and I've said this to you several times over the last week. I'm very proud of you because you didn't give up. You didn't just wallow in the situation and just, lay down and just say, forget it, I'm done with it. So when you speak with such transparency and compassion. What helped you to find the courage to speak publicly about your diagnosis? When you were first diagnosed, I'm sure you didn't want to talk about it. What
No.
helped you to be able to reach this point now where you can share your story?
I told my pastor that I was HIV positive. And, he gave me a few minutes because, he had to process because that's
Right.
something new. And in that moment, one of the things he told me, your story is going to deliver other people. I was like, okay. So he asked me to put on a program for World AIDS Day in 2019, which was a year and a half after I was diagnosed. And in planning that program, I had different people. I had someone that talked about financing. I had someone come in from the health department to talk about, stats and, different things about HIV. And I also had a young lady that came in and told her story. I wasn't originally supposed to speak that day, but that morning when I got up, it's like God was urging me to tell my story. And I told my mom. She was like, okay, go ahead. I think it'll be good for you. So as I'm sitting there doing that program, I, I looked at my pastor. I said, I'm going to get up and I'm going to speak. And I remember as I'm recording, one of the other ladies, my mom sent me a text message that came through the bottom of the screen. Tell your story and set yourself free.
Wow.
And that's the same reaction I had. I was like, wow, because everybody will tell you I've never been one that like stand up in front of people and do a lot of talking. But I stood up and I seen at first everybody was like, oh wow, okay, she's getting up, she can talk. And as I talked, I noticed that people's faces changing.
Okay.
And as I got to the end, I got a standing ovation.
Wow. See?
Everybody that was in there. So I knew that was my purpose to tell my story to other people. They
I
came
love
up and
that.
gave me hugs. It's like we knew you were sick, but we didn't know that's what it was. So I was like, wow. So that was my breaking of coming out of my shell
Yeah.
and, like I said, being a voice for people that can't speak for themselves.
I love it. I love it.
So they
So
were
let's talk about your writing, right? And the quiet storm. Many of your books and your journals guide people through healing, right? And self discovery. My son said something to me, my oldest son, he said something to me a few years ago when I first started doing this podcast. And I'm like, I can't do it. I'm not as good as other people. I don't have the setup that other people have. I just can't do it. And he said something to me that I share with you. He said, nobody can tell your story like
Mhm.
you can tell your story. And he said, you have been through some things, Queen. He said, and because you've come through those things, guide other people through those things. So, how did you find that your own personal storm became a creative well for your writing that you pour out of?
Well, for me, um, writing became therapy. It was my opportunity to write my thoughts down. Um, I could speak however I wanted to. It didn't speak back to me. I could cry through the writing if I wanted to. I could praise God through the writing if I wanted to. And that's how Toya Quiet Storm came about. It was my journal.
Yeah.
And when I would write, I would say, Dear Quiet Storm. So that, and I just add the Toya in it, and
Wow.
that's how everything came about with that.
Isn't that interesting how things work, right?
Yes.
Um, you start a whole movement
Mhm.
out of pain when you turn that pain into purpose, right? And next thing you know, you got a whole thing going on that you had no plans whatsoever to do. And again, I say, I am very proud of you. What role does writing play in your emotional and spiritual processing? Like you say, you have days when you feel overwhelmed and you still feel, why me? Like, out of all the people on the planet, why did this have to happen to me? What did I do to deserve this?
Mhm.
Yet you are still writing. And the writing has become, like you say, a place where you can share all of your thoughts. Most of your books and your journals are roadmaps for other people. And So I want to ask you, is there a devotional or journal entry you've created years ago, because you've been doing this for a while now, that still ministers to you today? Is there one particular devotional journal or even a phrase that ministers to you today?
I would say moments of reflection. And that's really when I started getting into my devotionals of writing. And with that one, it gave me a chance to come up with some prayers. And it also, I put like a space where people can write their thoughts down. I think it's always important to write your thoughts down. I wanted them to have, like you said, it's a roadmap. You don't have to follow everything that I did, but it gives you a chance to start. If that gives you a chance to start your own writing.
Absolutely. Now let me ask you this, Latoya, as a person that's living with HIV,
Yes.
why do you think, and as an ambassador and advocate for those in the HIV community, why do you think that people have such a stigma around HIV? Why do people still not want to talk about it? Because in our community, let's just be real about it. We don't want hardly talk about anything. We don't want to go to therapy. We don't want to talk about we have a child that's gay. We don't want to talk about. We just want to hide everything. And I'm going to say this, and I've said it before, and it's got me in trouble. But I don't really care about getting in trouble. I was like I'm always in trouble, right? One of the issues I find is that in the Black church, we have been programmed to not tell stuff. Like, I'm gonna say we've been programmed to lie, but we've been programmed to keep stuff silent.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, they'll tell you everything if that's a lie.
Right.
They'll tell you don't talk about it because you don't want to give the devil no glory.
Mm-hmm.
They'll tell you, uh, you know, when you come to Christ, you're a new creature. All old thing, it's like that constant feeding you. Don't talk about it. Don't talk about it. Don't talk about it. I
Right.
remember when I ended up in the mental health unit and was diagnosed with major depression and anxiety, and I was an ordained minister at the time, and I had multiple people coming up to me. You don't need to talk about that. You don't need to tell anybody that. Nobody won't want to hear anything else you have to say. It will affect how people see you. And at the same time, and I know you can relate to this, at the same time, there are people coming to me quietly, letting everybody know they're coming, and saying, "Thank you so much for sharing your story because I'm going through the same thing and I didn't know how to talk about it. So you have helped me." So let's talk about that for just a minute. You have been blessed to have a pastor that said,
Mm-hmm.
"Tell your story." You have been blessed to have a pastor and a mother, a support system, even in the church
Mm-hmm.
that says, "Talk about it because other people need to hear about it." But let's just be real about it. The majority of the people in Black community, and especially the Black church, are not told to share things like that. Why do you think that is?
Fear of not being accepted. I think that's the main ring. Fear of not being accepted. Fear of people gonna look down on you or treat you differently. That's what I.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's the
That
main.
whole thing about being rejected,
Mhm.
because I mean, as people were coming to me saying, "Don't say anything, don't," people don't need to know that you have a mental health diagnosis because they'll think you crazy, all that kind of stuff. And I'm thinking to myself, I think you're crazy, but you know, like I wasn't saying it to everybody that I thought they were crazy, but I was thinking it because
Yeah.
when I went to get help, my therapist said to me, she said, "You're going to be one of the healthiest people you know. One, because you acknowledge that you need help. and you acknowledge that you have an issue. As you go around sharing your story as an advocate and as an ambassador, you are actually saving lives and saving people's minds for real. And I want you to continue to do that. So let's talk for a second about the human experience of the stigma. Um, is there one person? I know you've talked about your mom and you've talked about your pastor. When you have those moments where you say, "This is too much. I didn't deserve this. I didn't do anything to get this," is there one person that you know you can call on and that they're going to let you walk through that process and then they're going to be on the other side to hold you up? Who is that one person for you?
Yes, that's one of my mentors, and I don't want to, give her name out, but it's a mentor that I have in the HIV community. I reach out to her. We talk every day,
Awesome.
and it's like sometimes when I'm real quiet and I don't send her a message, if it's been like a day or so, she immediately will call me. It's like, okay, what's going on? How are you feeling? She'll let me tell how I'm feeling, get it all out. And she's like, you're going to be okay. And I'm praying for you. Your faith is strong. I know this is hard right now, but keep fighting. You cannot fight. You have to continue.
Absolutely.
Moments that gives me that strength to keep going. And I get that from not just her, but my family and, other friends that I have that aren't in the movement.
Yeah,
So it helps. But being having
absolutely.
people that actually know what I'm dealing with when it comes to HIV and the different things, it gives me a sense of peace in those tough times.
That's awesome. And it's important to have that type of support. What does healing look like? And I talk about this, I teach it, I preach it. Healing looks different for everybody. And sometimes what we want to experience as healing to have to be completely void of all illness, all disease, that may not necessarily be the type of healing that we're going to get or experience. What does healing look like for you on days when the storm is really loud, like it's raging? How do you know that you still heal? How do you still speak healing to yourself?
When I open up my eyes every day, because, like I said, they said I wasn't going to make it.
Yeah,
I wasn't going to be here. And not just with centered around HIV, they told me that even when I was 18 years old, that I wouldn't live to be 25. And I'm now
wow.
7. So I see every day that I open my eyes is another chance to say, God, I thank you. I hear you. I feel you. Just give me the strength that I need to get out of the bed, to open the blinds, to open the door, let the sun shine in so I'm not staying in that dark place.
Yeah, I love that because the reality of life is that we're all going through storms at different times in our life. And so we have to make the decision that even in this storm, I'm going to keep going, right? I may not be moving as fast as I can on other days, but I'm going to do something. I'm not going to just lay here and be consumed by the storm. So let's talk about purpose as we're winding down our conversation. Purpose is extremely important to me. And when I started this podcast, I kept saying that it was a purpose driven platform because I want everybody that comes and talks to me to be able to recognize their purpose, to recognize whether or not they are fulfilling their purpose, and if not, what they need to do to start fulfilling that purpose. What is the bigger calling that you feel is being shaped in your life through your HIV journey? What is the bigger calling that you feel is being shaped through your HIV journey?
to let everyone know, one, like I said, it's not a death sentence. Two, you can make it through the other side. Three, you can inspire other people by just staying positive, thrive. Like you said, thriving. I don't say surviving, I say thriving, because that just pushes me just to keep going. Like I said, it gives me that strength. Like today was one of those days I was like, okay, I don't know if I can do this today. But then I remember I had a purpose. And my
Yes,
purpose is to share, not hold on to that pain, but to walk, like you said, walk into a healing so that I can go on. I can help other people. I can be that voice for those that can't speak out. I can be that voice for those that don't feel they have anyone on their side. I can show them through my story that there is healing and peace and comfort on the other side.
I love it. I love it. So let's talk for just a minute as we're closing about Toya's Quiet Storm. All right. First of all, explain to the audience what Toya's Quiet Storm is.
It's an initiative that I created because actually HIV was a quiet storm in my life when I first found out. So I turned that negative into a positive that I can use to go out and teach, go out and fellowship, go out and minister to other people. It's okay. You got this. You're not alone. You're not by yourself. Hold on. Don't give up. Keep fighting.
All right. And how do you hope or do you see Toya's Quiet Storm evolving over the next 3 to 5 years? What are some other things that you would like to see it do?
I would love to bring resources to my community because as of right now, we don't have anything. Only thing we have is the doctor office that's attached to the hospital. We have
Okay.
no support groups. We have no organizations that you can go and speak to anyone. Anything that I need to do that I'm involved in is either online or I have to drive an hour and a half to 2 hours away
Wow.
to get it. So I would love to be able to bring some stuff to my community to help others,
What
especially
state are you in?
North Carolina.
North Carolina.
Mhm.
Okay.
Real rural.
Definitely need that. We definitely need that. I'm going to help you look around as as well. We'll talk about it offline
Thank you.
because it needs has the community have the resources that we can easily access. That's one of the reasons why our community suffers in so many areas is because a lot of times we don't have the resources of easily accessible, and people don't. Everybody can't travel an hour or 2 hours to get the resources that they need,
Mm-mm.
and so we
Right.
definitely want to see what we can do to help with that. So as I'm closing, I want you to share with those who are listening and those who will listen to replay how and where they can purchase your books and how we can partner with you in ways to help support the HIV community.
Yes, my books can be purchased on Amazon.com or you can reach out to me. My email is toyaquietstorm@gmail.com. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram under I am Toya's Quiet Storm. And I'm also on TikTok.
Awesome. Fantastic. So, what blessing or affirmation or word of encouragement would you like to leave with our listeners?
It's not over, it's
I love
just
it.
beginning. You're
Yes.
walking into peace, you're walking into power, you're walking into comfort, and you're walking into strength.
I love that. Thank you so much.
You're
And I
very
want to encourage everyone who's listening and those that will be listening, let's do more research, right?
welcome.
Let's find out more about HIV and AIDS in our communities and let's get educated, right? And
Right.
stop repeating stuff that you heard 10,
Mhm.
15, 20, 30 years ago. And let's get educated and do what we need to do to support our loved ones in our community. Because I'm going to tell you what I believe. I believe every one of us probably know at least one person
Mhm.
that has HIV or something, and but they don't talk about it because they don't want to be banished. You know, they don't want to be treated like they have leprosy. They don't want to be rejected.
Right.
So let's get informed, right, and see
Mhm.
what we can do because community is the key. We talk a lot about what other people are doing to us, but let's start looking at what we're doing to ourselves. Let's start looking at what we're doing to our community. And one of the things is that we're not as informed as we need to be so that
Mm.
we can support one another.
Right.
Latoya, I thank you so much for spending time with me this evening.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate the encouragement and everything that you give me. You share my posts. You reach out. I see you. That's where you tell me I see you.
That's right.
Not you're not seeing my condition. You're seeing me. So that
Exactly.
also gives me the strength to keep going. So thank you.
Oh, you're so welcome. And again, I say it publicly, I said it privately. I'm extremely proud of you.
Thank
And
you.
if there is something specifically that you need from me, something that I can do to help with Latoya's quiet storm, please reach out to me.
Thank
Um,
you. I sure
Even if
will.
I can't do it myself, I will look around till I can find somebody
Thank
that
you
can
so
help
much.
you. You're so welcome. All right. Again, thank you all so much for joining another episode of Unmuted Destiny with Jamie Green. I'm honored to have had the opportunity to sit down and talk with Latoya Murchison, and we will definitely be talking again. If
Yes,
you
ma'am.
have any comments or questions you have not shared, but you would like to share once we go off air, you can still put them in the comment section, and Latoya and I will respond. All right. Again, thank you all so much. Everyone, have a blessed evening. Good night.
Good night.